Jagadishwaram, the Lord of the universe, Hridistam, situated in the heart, Pujayamasa, worship, Maya, by internal potency, Upata, manifested, Vigraham, a form, translational purport by Jagadguru Śrīla Prabhupada. Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa is situated in everyone's heart, yet he manifests his transcendental form by his internal potency. This very Lord was sitting before Bhīṣmadeva, and since Bhīṣmadeva knew of his glory, he worshipped him duly. Please repeat the translation. Yet, he manifests his transcendental by his internal potency. This very Lord was sitting before Bhīṣmadeva, and since Bhīṣmadeva knew of his glories, he worshipped him duly. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord's omnipotence is displayed by his simultaneous presence in every place. He is present always in his eternal abode, Goloka Vrindavana, and still he is present in everyone's heart and even within every invisible atom. When he manifests his eternal transcendental form in the material world, he does so by his internal potency. The external potency or the material energy has nothing to do with his eternal form. All these truths were known to Sri Bhīṣmadeva, who worshipped him accordingly. Next verse I'll read myself. Panduputran upasinan prashraya prema sangatan abhyachasta anuraga ashrer andibhutena chakshusha. The sons of Maharaj Pandu were sitting silently nearby, overtaken with affection for their dying grandfather. Seeing this, Bhīṣmadeva congratulated them with feeling. There were tears of ecstasy in his eyes, for he was overwhelmed by love and affection. Purport. When Maharaj Pandu died, his sons were all small children, and naturally they were brought up under the affection of elderly members of the royal family, specifically by Bhīṣmadeva. Later on, when the Pandavas were grown up, they were cheated by cunning Duryodhana and company. And Bhīṣmadeva, although he knew that the Pandavas were innocent and were unnecessarily put into trouble, could not take the side of the Pandavas for political reasons. At the last stage of his life, when Bhīṣmadeva saw his most exalted grandsons headed by Maharaj Yudhishthira sitting very gently at his side, the great warrior grandfather could not check his loving tears, which were automatically flowing from his eyes. He remembered the great tribulation suffered by his most pious grandsons. Certainly, he was the most satisfied man because of Yudhishthira's being enthroned in place of Duryodhana, and thus he began to congratulate them. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namavom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Advaita Gadadara Śrīvāsadi Gaurabhaktarunda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we see here Bhīṣmadeva responds to the Pandavas who had come to visit him at the last moment of his life. He also saw Lord Krishna. So he appreciated the position of Lord Krishna by saying the first verse. And the second verse was Bhīṣmadeva pacified the Pandavas and he was encouraging them. The continuous verses will be. So he says, Krishnam cha tat prabhavajna, he who knows the glories of the Lord. Who is that person? Bhīṣmadeva. Whom does he know about? He knows about Lord Krishna. Krishnam cha tat prabhavajna, Asinam, who was sitting nearby to Bhīṣmadeva. Asinam, and he is Jagadishwaram. He is the master and controller of the entire world. He is the super soul. And Hridistam Pujayamasha, Hridistam. Where does Lord Krishna sit? He is the controller of the entire universe, Jagadishwaram, and he is there as a super soul in everyone's living entity. So, Hridistam Pujayamāsha, and who is duly to be worshipped. So, Bhīṣmadeva worshipped him according to capacity of Lord Krishna. Duly worshipped him, Pujayamāsha. And who is this Lord Krishna? Mayaya Uppata Vigraham. He is not a conditioned soul like our material bodies. He is a personality, Maya, who came out of his internal potency, Uppata, manifested by the internal potency, Vigraham, that transcendental form. So he glorified the quality of Lord Krishna's transcendental form. So, in the purport Prabhupada says, Bhīṣmadeva knew Lord's omnipotent nature. The Lord is there in his abode also, and simultaneously he is all pervasive as Paramatma in everyone living entities. The Lord's eternal form is manifested by internal potency. He knew all these secrets. That's why he is considered as the most versatile or well educated man, Prabhavajnaha. So quoting from Brahma Samhita, this is a reference. Andantarastha paramanu chayantarastham goloka eva nivasati akilatma bhutaha. He is there in Goloka Vrindavan also. He is there in heart of all living entities. That is the purport what the translation Prabhupada had quoted in the purport. The next verse, Bhīṣmadeva says, Panduputran Upasinan. The sons of Pandus, 5 brothers, Upasinan, who were sitting nearby. Prashraya Prema Sangatan. He was being overtaken because their grandfather is about to quit his body, who had given that emotional support and taken care of them from their childhood. Prashrayan Prema Sangatan, because of loving affection, they became overwhelmed. Abhyachasta Anurager Ashrayar. So then Abhyachasta, Bhīṣmadeva congratulated them, because Yudhishthira Maharaj has become the king of Hastinapura. Anuraga, by feelingly, Ashrayahi, because of too much ecstasy that his beloved grandson has become the king of the or the emperor of the kingdom, he started crying in ecstasy. Andibhutena chakshusha, he became overwhelmed, and his eyes started naturally, the tears started rolling out of his eyes. So in the purport Prabhupada says, in the last stage of his life, Bhīṣmadeva saw the most exalted grandsons, Pandavas, who were sitting very gently at his side. So the great warrior could not check his tears, which were automatically flowing from his eyes, because his entire desire, he could not give support to them emotionally at various points, but he was always feeling for them. So finally, when he could see that Yudhishthira Maharaj, who was the rightful claim for the post, was sitting on the emperor post, he became very satisfied. And Lord Krishna's intention also was to give satisfaction to Bhīṣmadeva. So when Yudhishthira Maharaj in the royal attire with all the brothers most luxuriously dressed, when they visit Bhīṣmadeva, Bhīṣmadeva will be satisfied. So certainly he was the most satisfied man because of Yudhishthira's being enthroned in place of Duryodhana, and thus he began to congratulate them. So he became very happy that rightful claim of Yudhishthira Maharaj has been satisfied by replacing Duryodhana as the emperor of the world. So now we have to understand, when it is said that Krishna's body is transcendental and it is eternal and it is of divine nature, what is difference between Krishna's body and our body? A conditioned soul's body to transcendental body of the Lord, what are the specific differences? So, from Prabhupada's perspectives, we get to know 4 prominent differences. So, Lord is master of the senses, whereas the conditioned soul is controlled by the senses. The Lord is Hrishikesha, we are bound by the senses. The Lord is the master of the senses. The first point. The second one is, the Lord is the greatest, and whereas the living entity is smallest. We are Anu, Lord is Vibhu. The third one is, the living entity is conditioned by the waves of material nature. He is bound by Maya. But the Supreme Lord is transcendental to all actions and reactions. There is no karma for the Lord. Lord is beyond Vedic regulations. But living entity are bound by these Vedic regulations. Fourth one, the Lord's expansions, Advaitam, Achyutam, any of his manifested forms, the Lord can expand into many forms, unlimited forms. But a conditioned soul is limited only within one body. He cannot expand to many forms. So sometimes it is said a yogi can expand up to 8 forms. But all 8 forms will be doing only one action. The main person lifts his hand, all the other will lift their hand. So he can only expand, but they are all prototypes. They are like duplicates. Whatever the original does, the other 7 follow the same thing. But if Krishna expands into unlimited forms, each form can act independently. So these are the 4 primary differences what Shastras speak about the Supreme Lord and the Jiva. Now the Supreme Lord has been given here as he comes by his internal potency. That is explained in 4th chapter 6th sloka. Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. I do not come in the material world by any precondition. I come out of my own will. What is that own will? He can choose how he looks like. He can choose who his parents can be. He can choose when he can come. Do we have that option? We don't have this option. Who our parents are, we don't have any option. How I look, I don't have any option. So when I quit my body, I don't have any option. But Krishna has all this in control. That's why it is said, Sambhavami Atma Maya. Then what is the next difference? Krishna remembers all his past lives, but we forget things of this life itself, what to speak of past life. So this is one more major difference. Krishna remembers everything, Jiva forgets everything. So Brahmadeva, Lord Brahma, he had offered various prayers to Lord Krishna, glorifying the form of the Lord. He says, Avikriyam Satyam Anantamadhyam Guhashayam Nishkalam Apratarkyam Mano Agriyanam Vachasa Aniruktam Namamahe Devavaram Varenyam. So Lord Brahma is saying, Lord is Avikriyam. He is changeless. Our body changes, but Lord's body doesn't change. Avikriyam, and he is unlimited, Anantam, and he is supreme truth, Satyam. And he is Adyam, he is the origin of everything. So, and he is Guhashayam, even though he is origin, but he is sitting within the heart of every living entity. Guhashayam. Then he is Nishkalam, he has no material qualities. We are bound by Sattva, Raja, Tama Guna, but Lord is, no qualities are there with the Lord. That's why he is called as Nishkalam. Then he is Apratarkyam, he is inconceivable. Tarkya means to describe. So Apratarkyam means he cannot be described. He is inconceivable, beyond our understanding. Mana Agrayanam, our mind cannot catch him by our speculation. We cannot assume the Lord by our mental speculation. Then, Vachasa Aniruktam, and our words fail to describe the Lord. We cannot completely glorify the Lord. We are very limited in the perspective. Then, he is Devavaram, he is the supreme master of everyone. And therefore, he is Varenyam, he is worshipable by everyone. Therefore, Namamahe, we offer our respectful obeisances unto that supreme Lord. So next he says, Krishna menam avehitvam atmanam akilatmanam jagadditaya so api atra dehiva abhati mayaya. He is saying, Tvam Krishnam enam avehi. We should know Krishna as Atmanam Akilatmanam. He is the original soul of all the souls. Atmanam Akilatmanam. For all the living entities, he is the original source. And Jagat Hitaya, for the benefit of the entire world, of the entire universe, Jagat Hitaya. Soapi atra dehi iva abati. He appears into this material world as if like an ordinary man. Manushim tanumashritam. He comes like one of us. But he comes Mayaya. He has done by his own internal potency. He doesn't come by as a conditioned soul comes. He comes out of his own accord. Then further he says, Vastuto janata matra Krishnam stastu charishnucha Bhagavat rupam akilam na anyat vastu iha kinchana. So vastuto janata matra. So vastuto, in truth, if one knows about Krishna, janata matra Krishnam, if one can understand Lord Krishna in truth, stashno charishnucha, all moving and non-moving entities are emanations from the Lord, the position of Lord Krishna as the master, and everything is emanating from the body of the Lord, all moving and non-moving categories. And Bhagavat Rupam Akilam, they are all the Lord's manifested form. Bhagavat Rupam Akilam, everything is the Lord's forms or Lord's energies. Bhagavat Rupam Akilam, na anyad vastu iha kinchana, there is nothing else reality. Vastu, there is no reality in this world other than Lord Krishna. This is the conclusion what we will come. So if we can understand that conclusion, then we become liberated from this material world. So in Mahabharata also there was one particular part where in the battle was about to start. So there were negotiations going on. So at one particular point Lord Krishna had come to instruct the Pandavas, to instruct the Kauravas. He wanted to make a truce. The war was the basis because Duryodhana had failed to keep up his promise. A gambling match has been set, and it is said whoever loses the gambling match, they have to go 12 years Aranyavasa and 1 year Ajnatavasa. So if they are found in that Ajnatavasa period, this cycle will continue. The Pandavas lost, the Kauravas won. Now if they complete successfully after 13 years, their kingdom, rightful share has to be given back to Pandavas. So 13 years successfully they had finished. When they came back and they were asking for their rightful kingdom, Duryodhana was very adamant. He doesn't want to share their rightful kingdom. He said, actually my father is the eldest son. As per system, my father should have been the next king. But because he was blind, Pandu has become the king. So if my father was rightfully have been a healthy son, so as per his son, I would have been the king. It is naturally my birthright to have this kingdom. So on that basis he was thinking Pandavas are not eligible, that he is the rightful claim for the throne. So but Krishna, they tried to accommodate, they tried to communicate, at least you give 5 villages. Because they are Kshatriyas, they cannot do any other job, they have to do ruling, so give them at least 5 villages. Duryodhana said, I will not spare a land which can hold a pin. So how much will be a pin? He is saying, I will not spare a land which will occupy a pin space also. And he was thinking that, Krishna is coming as a mediator. So seeing Krishna, the Pandavas were becoming very strong and very aggressive. So let me tie up Krishna. Let me bind Krishna and put him in prison. Jai Shri Radha Govinda ki. He was thinking like Kamsa, let me put Vasudeva into this jail. Like that he is thinking, let me bind up Krishna and put him into the jail. Then I can easily defeat Pandavas. So understanding the mood, Krishna exhibited his universal form. Duryodhana bought a huge rope to bind up Krishna. Krishna said, where will you bind me? Where will be your huge rope? It is insignificant compared to my form. And finally Krishna gave a warning. He said, he chastised Dhritarashtra by saying he should give up his attachment for his son Duryodhana and act according to religious principles. When Krishna spoke so severely, all the assembly became shaken up. They came to their senses because Krishna became so angry. He is saying to Dhritarashtra, leave, quit your son. Tyaja. And after that, everyone became very silent. So at that time, Parashurama was there in that assembly. He spoke to Dhritarashtra about one circumstance. See, pride precedes fall down, we all know. So what happens if we have pride? See, sometimes what happens, we as a devotees, practitioners, we learn something, the pride starts sitting in us. We start thinking, I know everything, you need not teach me. So this pride, what is the problem and what are the consequences? So Parashurama explains by a story. He says, O Dhritarashtra, please listen, which I shall support with an example. Having heard it, if you think it is what is beneficial truth, accept it and do as required. And this I have heard from my authorities. There was one mighty ruler by name Dambodhava. Damba Udbhava. His name is Dambodhava, who unrestrictedly enjoyed the entire earth as his property. So every night passing, in the morning, he used to question his Brahmanas and other Kshatriyas as follows. So every day morning, he used to question everyone as follows. Asti kinchit vistito va madvido va bhavet yudi shudro vaishyo kshatriyo va brahmano vapi shastrabhrut. He is saying, is there any Shudra, a Vaishya, or a Kshatriya, or a Brahmana who is equal to or greater than me in warfare? So every day morning he used to wake up and he used to ask all his entourage, is there anyone who is greater than me, or is there anyone who is stronger than me, who can compete with me in the war? So he was walking, always asking this statement, he was walking all the way across the earth, intoxicated with pride, considering others as negligible in front of him. So seeing this attitude, some of the learned Brahmanas tried to instruct him. They tried to inform him that this is not a good attitude. Pride is not a good thing for one to advance in the world. So his pride was at his peak and he was completely intoxicated by his wealth. So they became furious and spoke the following words to the king. Aneka jaino sanke yuvai purusha sattamau tayostvam na samo rajan bhavitasi kadachana. They said, there are two purusha sattamau, two best of the human personalities who have won over many warriors. They are the best among men, and you will never be able to match these better two personalities, O king, they said. So when the Brahmana said this, the king became very curious. Who are the two people with whom are considered as the best among by yourself? What are their names? So the Brahmanas replied, Shruyetato Mahatmano Naranarayana Subhau. They are Mahatmanaha and they are known as Naranarayanaha. Tapogoram Anirdesham Tapyete Gandhamadane. In the Himalayas, there is one Parvata called as Gandhamadana. So both these personalities are doing Ugra Tapasya, Gora Tapasya on that planet, on that hill known as Gandhamadana. The king could not tolerate. He took an entire army, huge army, which consisted of 6 divisions. So an army has various 6 categories, it seems. The first thing was elephants, chariots, horses, camels, carts, and on foot. So these are the 6 divisions of an army. So he had a huge army with all the 6 categories of warriors. So he reached the Gandhamadana hill and finally found a secluded place where he saw both the sages, Naranara and Rishi. They were very thin and they were weak, And one can see their bodily veins within the skin, means they became, by their excessive austerities, their bodies became very lean and thin. He approached them and asked them how they were. So Naranarayan Rishi welcomed the king, gave him a seat, gave him some fruits to eat, some water to drink, a courtesy. As welcoming a guest, they did everything. So thereafter they asked him, how we can serve you? The king repeated the words of the Brahmanas. He said, though my two strong arms, I have won over the entire earth and I kill all my enemies. Now I have come to fight with both of you. This has been my desire for a long time. Kindly offer me this as a mark of your hospitality. I want to fight with you. So Naranarayan Rishi, being sages and by the incarnations of the Lord, they tried to convince him, they tried to communicate to him, war is not good. War means there will be destruction. Destruction means loss of people, loss of resources, everything and all. It only creates disturbance. So they tried to teach him in all possible means and ways. But he was insisting that he wants to fight. So after repeated requests, Nara became very angry that he is simply causing nuisance to their practice of tapasya. He said, I am ready to fight with you. And he took up some darba grass, because sages, when they are in the forest, what do they have? Some darba grass. So he took up some darba grass and he said, get set, ready, I am ready to fight. Then Dambodhava, he said, okay, with darba grass you are going to fight me. See my weapons, see my army, and you one person with some darba grass. So seeing that war is ready, so Dambodhava released all his weapons and all these categories. So Nara, with one darba, he chanted one Brahmastra onto the darba and released that Brahmastra. That Brahmastra went and destroyed all the weapons, hit all the army, everybody's eyes, ears, hands, something was cut, one of the organ was cut, and finally he started chasing Dambodhava, that Brahmastra. Seeing that by one Brahmastra his entire army has been collapsed and he has come to practically to lose his life, he came and fell down at the feet of Nara and said, please forgive me, I have become proud and I came here to challenge you, but I don't know that the capacity of you. Just by one grass, one truna, you are able to subdue me. Please give me, please forgive me and please save my life. Because devotees are always compassionate, so Nara exhibited his compassion, forgave him, and he gave him guidance that please don't fight. We are here to come back to Godhead. Our life, the purpose of life is to realize the Lord, become a devotee, engage in the devotion service and go back to Godhead. Not to unnecessarily create torture for other living entities. Fighting means artificially creating torture for other living entities. So with that instructions, he sent him back and he became a devotee later on. So there, in that perspective, they explain, Parashurama continued explaining, that it is the same Nara who is there today as Arjuna and the more powerful Narayana who is there here as Krishna. And you are saying you are going to fight with all your capacities on this Naranarayana who are there as Krishna and Arjuna. Do you think it is an intelligent way? When Dambodhava itself had failed, what to speak of insignificant people of you Kauravas? So better you go beat them and make a compromise. As long as Arjuna has not employed his divine weapons on Gandiva, you are safe and secure. So once he starts fighting, you are not assured of you will survive or not. So there are 8 kinds of divine weapons, it seems, which Arjuna possessed. It is mentioned as Kakudikam, Shukam, Nakam, Akshi, Santarjanam, Tata, Santanam, Nartakam, Goram, Asya, Modakam, Astamam. So what is so special about these 8 weapons? Kakudika means, it is also known as Prashvapana. It is a weapon on one strike enough to make the enemy to attain sleep of death at the back of an elephant or a chariot on which he is riding. So this is specifically for people who are riding on a chariot or a camel or on a horse. So this is called as Kakudika. The second one is called as Shuka or known as Mohana. It causes great mental anxiety to the victim even though factually there is no cause for anxiety. This is just like Shukanalika Nyaya, the parrot and the pipe. In the ancient times, a hollow pipe would be stuck to a tree with a bait. And as soon as parrot would land on the pipe would start turning round and round, and the parrot, instead of flying away, would hold on more tightly to the pipe and would be caught. So they hang a pipe and with a thread tension. As soon as the parrot sat on the pipe will start rotating. So out of anxiety to hold on to that thing, instead of flying away, the parrot round, it will become confused and they catch that parrot. In a similar way, due to the illusion of the weapon, enemies start holding on to their chariot wheels instead of running away and they get killed. The third one is Naka or Unmadana. It causes one to immediately see heaven. In other words, die. Next. Unmada means he'll die in a moment. The next one is Akshi Santarjana or known as Trasana. It causes enemies to pass stool and urine while they die. Out of excessive fear, a person will pass stool and urine. Next one is Santana or known as Daivata. It causes torrents of weapon to fall on the enemy. Suddenly, it's like a cyclone falling on one place. Next one is Nartaka or Paisacha. It causes the enemy to dance wildly out of pain before dying. Out of excessive pain, he'll start dancing, it seems. The seventh one is Gora, also known as Rakshasa. It causes tremendous pain and suffering to the enemy before death. And the last one is known as Asya Modaka or Yamya. It causes enemies to feel such a pain that they put stones in their mouth so that they cannot cry. Excessive pain, we cry. To stop crying, they put stones in their mouth so that they don't cry. So these are the eight categories of weapon which Arjuna had. So he is saying, be careful. So this is what Parashurama was instructing the Kauravas. So Parashurama continued, all human beings die on being hit by these weapons. These 8 weapons represent 8 faults with us. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Mana, Matsarya and Ahankara. These weapons cause victims to become mad, unconscious, fall asleep, jump around in pain, sneeze and cough, pass stool and urine and cry or laugh uncontrollably. So finally he said, to ensure that your renowned family stays on this planet and to ensure that you attain auspiciousness, think about what will benefit you and take a wise decision. So Pandavas were given an opportunity, Kauravas were given an opportunity, not that they didn't know about all these aspects, but out of foolishness and out of craziness, they did not hear to the instructions of superior personalities. Krishna himself was saying, Vyasadeva was saying, Parashurama was saying, but still they were very adamant of fighting. And the result is they all lost their lives. So these are the specific pastimes of the Lord. And sometimes Lord's pastimes are also unique. So these are little stronger and in a way these are like little violent pastimes. There are some Krishna's pastimes which are very sweet. So this is a song composed by Dukhi Shyamdas in Govinda Mangala. He says, Suno go Sundari Eka Upadeshavani. So one day Krishna came to the house of a gopi and he said, I am going to give you one good instruction for you. Karaparna kari sara deha goyalini tomara bharete tabe na asive chora. He said, I am holding my hands and you feel the best of the cream in your house. Once my arms are filled, the thief will not come to your house, I assure you. Satyakata kahi ami bhara tora. So now I am ascertaining you the truth. Satyakaha. You fill my arms with cream and no thief will come to your house. So Gopi became very happy. If just by filling Krishna, how is he? He is 5 years old. how much curds or how much cream is required to fill his arms. So if his arms are full, then no thief will come. So all her products will be happy. Suniya usata chitta hoila goyali. She became very happy. Usata chitta. Dugdera mohana haite sara ane tuli. Then she brought all the milk in their house and she started filling his arms. Govindera karata he nahila purana. So how much she is filling? The hand is not getting filled. Krishna bola sara ana suna gopikana. He said, Gopis, please bring more cream for me. Vyanta haila goyalini iha deki suni. So she became restless. Said, so much milk she is pouring, but still it is not filling. Padashira gara haite sara magyani. She went to the neighbor's house. And she started begging milk and cream from others' house to fill the hands of Krishna. Shateka handira sara emane prakare. With so many hand has been, so many big pots of cream has been put into hands of Krishna. Bare bare dila loya govindera kare. So much they were pouring into the hands, but the hands were never full. Karapurna ha na hoila yadumani hase. Then Krishna started laughing that his hands are not full. Kaile se sabha sara ekase garase. And when they finished all their milk products in the house in one hand, then Krishna immediately finished that drinking. The entire milk product with one small prank he took away and he drank away the entire milk products. Deki chamakita gopi nake dila hata. Then seeing this nutcut chore, how he had trapped them and drank away all their milk and things, they put their hands to their mouth. Muchaki hasiya gruhe gela gopinada. And they started they have been embarrassed and they have been cheated by Krishna. And Krishna started laughing and happily went home as Gopinada. So this is a different style of pastime. This glorifies Krishna's capacity. How he pranked them and took away all their milk. And Krishna is master of pranks. Every day he used to come with new prank. So that is his speciality. You expect one thing, he will come with 10. You expect 10, he will come with 100. So similarly, there was one devotee, we know, Vadiraja Swamy. So he was on a Digvijaya Yatra and he came to Pandharipur Tirtha. So these Swamijis, like sannyasis, they always carry a box which had all the jewelry and all the deities whom they worship. And every day morning they offer the puja for the deities. So one morning when he opened his box, he saw one of the specific deity was missing. So he was thinking, what happened? So he went into meditation and he could observe the pastime of the Lord. So he came out of the temple and he started walking on the road. Suddenly, the farmer came running to Swamiji and he said, Swamiji, one of your horse came to my field and destroyed the entire field of Bengal gram. I am lost. My entire crop has been gone. And horse came, it ate and it destroyed, it stamped everything and all. Swamiji said, what happened? Where? Which area? Here in my nearby field, it came and today morning it destroyed the entire crop. Now, who will bear for me the losses? Then Swamiji said, what will be the amount? He said, so much amount will be required so that I have to recover because I have to survive. Swamiji said, don't bother, I will take care. I will reimburse your money. So let us go to the place. Take me to the place where. So when Swamiji was taken to that place, there, wherever the horse has eaten that specific part, that specific part became gold grains. That Bengal gram became golden Bengal gram. And as soon as that farmer saw that entire field where the horse had stamped, where the horse had eaten has become golden grams. So then he became very happy. And in out of ecstasy, the Swamiji had composed Dashavatara Stotra in the tune called as Ashwapati, Ashwadati. Means the raga of horse footsteps. How the horse will walk. In that raga, he had composed this Dashavatara Stotra. By hearing that, Lord also became very satisfied. And when he was singing, the horse came there in front of the Swamiji and he started dancing to the tune of the Swamiji. And this farmer said, yes, this is the horse which came and destroyed my entire crop. Then Swamiji said, no, it is not a horse, but it is the Supreme Lord Hayagriva himself, who has come here and who has blessed you and your entire family. By eating your offerings, Lord became very satisfied and gave you unlimited wealth. So be happy and engage in devotional service. Then that farmer took all that gold and handed over all that land to the Swamiji, and he said, I don't want. My satisfaction of that gold is sufficient for me. I'll be able to manage my life. Please take this land and as your mata, and please take care of it. And he surrendered himself to the Swamiji and he became a devotee. See, these are the unique pastimes. When Lord accepts a form, he performs something which is inconceivable. So, Krishna's pastimes are something like that, some beyond our comprehension. Like even Bhagavad Gita you take. There are certain aspects which are very unique things in Bhagavad Gita. The first thing was a spiritual television. So they were able to experience live what is happening there, like a cricket match. What is happening in the battlefield, they were able to experience it live. Because of Vyasadeva, Sanjay was able to experience this live spiritual television, the first thing. The second thing, example what was given in Bhagavad Gita is Janaka Maharaj. Janaka Maharaj, even though he was a king, but he was a completely detached person. He was executing his duties as a matter of a king, but he was practicing his spirituality also. So he was taking care of both the issues. So to set an example, do our respective duties and engage in devotional service. This is the second unique aspect of Bhagavad Gita. The third one was time travel. When Arjuna was shown that universal form, before showing, Krishna said, whatever you desire to see in the past, present or future, I am going to show you in this form. Arjuna wanted to avoid fighting and he wanted to save his kinsman. But Krishna showed in that universal form the future. All these people who are assembled here are dying into the mouth of the Lord, and Lord is crushing them under his teeth. So none of them can be protected. He showed the future also. Then the fourth one was the flag of Hanuman. So what is so special? Hanuman was there to accompany and to support Arjuna. He gave moral support. He was encouraging Arjuna. Because Lord Ramachandra is there as Lord Krishna, so his devotee as Hanuman, he is there to support one more devotee. So Arjuna becomes victorious. Then fifth one was, Lord gave the final instruction how one can please him, how one can become dear to him. And the last instruction, 18.69, Krishna says, one who preaches my glories to others is very dear to me. So if we want to become dear to Krishna, we should preach these glories to others. So following in the footsteps of all the acharyas who have preached this message of the Lord to one and everyone, to all unqualified people also, we should take up this opportunity to preach to everyone and make our life successful. In that way, I'll stop here. Any questions or doubts? Granadhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanand.
హరే కృష్ణ గోల్డెన్ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణ వాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం, వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు, ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణ వాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మరిన్ని వివరాల కోసం కాల్ చేయండి 9133107700.